Hey guys, what's up? It is the one and only RJ21 here, and today I'm going to be recapping Week 7 and the double eviction of Big Brother 25 and giving my updated power rankings. Week 7 started off with the wall competition, in which Jared won his second HOH and his second consecutive HOH. Despite Jared getting into a big blow up with Corey before the HOH competition, Jared's target for the week is Cameron, because Cameron has been house target number 1 for quite a while. Cameron's a big competition threat, and Cameron has been very vocal about targeting Cirie, which is horrible for Jared's game. At the nomination ceremony, Jared nominates Corey and America as pawns to backdoor Cameron. However, this plan is ruined when picking players for the veto, as during this ceremony, Bowie Jane, Jag, and Cameron are all selected to compete in this veto, leaving the possibility of Cameron winning the veto. However, at the veto competition, Cameron comes in second by just 40 seconds, leaving Jag as the winner of the power of veto. Wanting to carry through Jared's backdoor plan, Jag uses the power of veto on Corey, and Cameron is put up in Corey's place. Despite Cameron's efforts, it was all for naught, as come eviction night, Cameron was evicted by a unanimous vote of 8-0. The first unanimous vote we've had since Jag's eviction back in week 4. Then it's time for the double eviction, where we have the knockout competition. Corey ends up winning his first HOH and his first competition of the season. Corey then chooses to nominate Blue and Jared, with Jared being his target. Then the veto players are Corey, Blue, Jared, and then Matt, Jag, and Nicole are selected randomly. It's then the sprinting back and forth comp, where they have to dig in the ball pit to find a specific item and bring it back to their initial lanes, and Matt ends up winning this competition pretty handily. Like, as soon as the competition starts, it's almost as if Matt's already done. He finished that in quick time, but that's besides the point. Wanting to carry through with Corey's plan, Matt chooses not to use the power of veto, leaving Blue and Jared on the block. By the time of the vote, it's revealed that Jared has been evicted by a vote of 6-1, with Cirie throwing one sympathy vote Jared's way for obvious reasons. When Jared leaves the house, Julie Chen then reveals to both Jared and Cameron that neither of them are actually out of the game just yet, but instead they will be re-entering the game as Big Brother zombies, where one of them will return to the game next Thursday. To help make this an even scarier week, the people who are actually still in the game aren't actually going to be doing anything this week. There's no HOH, no noms, no power of veto, and no eviction come Thursday. It's literally only one of the two zombies coming back into the house, meaning this double eviction was all for naught, because instead of just 2 people going home in one night, we have one person going home over the course of 2 weeks. It's convoluted, it's messed up, it's really complex and complicated for no reason, but that's Big Brother for you. The house dynamics have shaken up quite a bit since the double eviction. While there was this really big contingent that wanted Jared to go home, now that Jared is technically out of the game, it seems like this house has split up into a bunch of duos, with the final 9, with Matt and Jag being a duo, Corey and America being a duo, Mimi and Felicia being a duo, Blue and Cirie being kind of a duo, kind of a trio, with Jared being a zombie, and Bowie Jane just being Bowie Jane. And each of these separate duos have their targets pointed at one another, and absolutely nobody is safe. Everybody is being considered a target, and everybody is vulnerable, which is making this house really fluid and really dynamic. So it's really going to depend on not only which zombie comes back into the house between Jared or Cameron, but which one of these duos ends up winning HOH, because that could shake up the game entirely. So as it stands right now, the house dynamics are very fluid, very complex, but it seems like everybody's a target. Everybody has a shot of going home if something goes wrong, and nobody is safe. Just a quick disclaimer, this video is being filmed after the double eviction, so there are some events that happened post double eviction that will be affecting my overall power rankings. Not as much as in the past, because we don't have an HOH or noms or a POV or anything, but there are conversations that are going to impact my rankings. But not as much as the past, because there's literally nothing going on. Sorry. That's my personal thoughts about the twist. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the power ranking. At number 11, we have the first person evicted in the double eviction and the first Big Brother zombie. We have Cameron. And Cameron has had this coming for the longest time. And I mean the longest time. He's been at the bottom of my power ranking for God knows how long. I think maybe even since the end of week 1, end of week 2, but he's always been at the bottom. He's never been in a good position in this house because his social game sucks. His social game is abhorrent. It's like horrible. It's so bad. It's somewhat made up by his physical game in that he can win competitions. He has a somewhat strategic mind, but God, his social game is just horrendous. With that being said though, Cameron is more likely to come back into the house. I don't know the exact details of how these zombies are going to come back. I heard that it was going to be through competitions, and there's going to be a live competition on Thursday, but I'm not confident about that, so I'm not going to claim anything about it. But if it is in fact competition, Cameron has consistently shown that he can beat Jared in comps. In the veto that Cameron lost, Cameron still beat Jared. In the what veto was it? In the microstack veto, Cameron beat Jared in that. Hasn't been many scenarios where Cameron has lost a competition to Jared. So if it's based on competitions, Cameron's most likely going to win that. However, if it's a house vote, Cameron's even more guaranteed to win that because nobody wants Jared back in the game. With Cameron, at least he's a free agent that's going to take a shot at whoever he pleases. But with Jared, he's going to be very locked in on a certain subset of people, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So overall, Cameron's probably going to be the one that's going to come back into the house, but even then, he's still going to be house target number 1 because nobody's going to want Cameron in the game anymore. Because why would you want Cameron in the game? He was already evicted once, might as well just keep him evicted. Sorry, I just really hate this zombies twist. God, man, like maybe in a future video I'll talk about these twists, but God, I just dislike it so much. But back to Cameron, if he comes back into the game, he's going to be in a bad position. If he stays evicted, he's going to stay evicted. So as it stands right now with Cameron, I don't have much confidence in his future, and he is going to stay here at number 11. At number 10, the second person evicted in the double eviction and the second Big Brother zombie, we have Jared. And same thing with Cameron, Jared's had it for a long time coming. Everyone was saying that they would put Jared up and Jared would go home in the double if given the opportunity, and that's exactly what happened. It was literally the house against Jared and Suri because they wanted Jared out that badly because he was spreading that much rumors and that much falsehood. He sucks at the game of Big Brother. Like, I have no idea how we all thought that Jared was going to do well in the preseason. I think we all just thought Jared was going to do well because he is Suri's son, and we thought that Suri's strategic and social mind was hereditary and that it was going to get passed on down to Jared. But clearly that's not the case because Jared sucks at Big Brother. Like, royally sucks. And it seems like with Jared being a zombie, it's pretty apparent to me at least, that Jared's probably not going to come back. Like I said with Cameron, if it's a house vote, they're not going to vote Jared back in. If it's a competition, Cameron has consistently beat Jared in competitions, which means Jared is probably not going to be returning to the game. So it's not even probably worth talking about him. But there is a possibility of him coming back, so it is worth talking. If he comes back, he's going to be house target number 1. That just makes the most sense. If he doesn't, the entire house wanted him out. And if he's back in the game, he's going to be able to take that shot again. And he's going to be able to get revenge on all of the people who crossed him. Jared coming back in the game would be horrible for like Corey, America, Matt, and Jag's games. And that's like the worst case scenario for them. So it's best that Jared stays evicted. Or if he does come back, it's best that he's going to get revolving doored and sent right back out of the house as soon as he re-enters. So it's just not even worth it. This whole zombie twist sucks. I'm sorry. It just sucks because they're both such big house targets. It's just inevitable that one of them is going to get revolving doored unless one of them wins HOH or veto. And even then, they're going to get taken up the next time they're vulnerable. So it's just not even worth bringing either of them back. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But for Jared himself, Same with Cameron. I don't have that much confidence in him, but he was evicted after Cameron, which is why I have him here at number 10. Now time to talk about players who are actually still in the game. At number 9, the person I think that is in the worst position is Felicia. And this isn't me saying Felicia's in a bad position necessarily. I just think she's in a less favorable position than everybody else in the house. I think Felicia was power structure adjacent with like the whole Izzy eviction thing. Felicia was being brought into that later more as a number rather than a core ally. So obviously Felicia wasn't being included in that. And now that this big power structure majority has sort of splintered, Felicia's still in a really poor position where there's not a lot of people who are actively working with her anymore. Felicia really severed her ties with Cirie and Blue after she found out that Cirie more so than Blue was blindsided her and wanted her out of the house. So Felicia has completely severed that tie with Cirie, and that's horrible for her game as it stands right now. I feel like she should have maybe kept that bridge instead of burning it so soon, because even if Felicia doesn't trust Cirie, Felicia still needs numbers. And as it stands right now, she only has one number, like one solid number, and that's Mecole. And that's not great for her. She doesn't have a lot of protection around her. And with whichever zombie comes back into the game, there's going to be a large majority of people that are going to be targeting Felicia. I think Corey, America, Matt, and Jag have definitely talked about putting Felicia on the block if they win HOH, and possibly even Cameron would put Felicia up on the block with recent conversations. So Felicia's not in a very good position. With Corey and America, they would put Felicia up against whoever returns, either Cameron or Jared. And if one of them win veto, which is very likely, Felicia's probably going home. With Matt and Jag, they would put Felicia up against Mecole. In that circumstance, Mecole is probably the more likely one to go home, but I feel like Mecole actually might be able to pull some sort of flip and find the votes to stay, because she's just better insulated with other people on the other side as opposed to Felicia. So overall, Felicia's positioning, it's not bad per se, it's just not favorable because she hasn't built the inroads she needs to keep numbers to keep her safe for like her longevity, and that's not good for her future, which is why I have her here at number 9. At number 8, I have Jag, and Jag is in a better position than Felicia, but is a much bigger target than Felicia, if that makes sense. Jag has really solid numbers around him. He has a final 2 with Matt in the Minutemen, and he has really solid connections with Corey and America. So that's obviously great for his game. However, everybody he's not aligned with is actively targeting him. I think 4, maybe even like 5 people are targeting Jag. If Mecole, Felicia, Cirie, Blue, or Jared, if Jared comes back into the house, won HOH, they would put Jag up. With Mecole and Felicia, they would put Jag up next to Matt, in which Jag handily goes home. With Cirie, Blue, and Jared, they would put Jag up next to Corey, which is, at least he has a fighting chance there, but Corey's so well insulated within the house as opposed to Jag that Jag is probably going to be the one voted out. As Jag likes to remind us constantly, he was voted out unanimously by a vote of 10-0, meaning that he is definitely expendable to people in the game. However, he's just continuing to not further his positioning. He's not solidifying the bonds that he needs to keep himself safe. He's just making himself a bigger and bigger target, which makes it more likely that people are going to target him and put him on the block. And if he doesn't win veto, he's going home. I have no idea how Jag mishandled his relationship so poorly with Blue to the point that Blue was like, yep, I'm going to put Jag up. That's it. And to be honest, Blue has been like this for a while in like telling Jag to go up on the block the week Red went home, and Jag almost getting the vote flipped on him. So Jag's definitely not playing a very good game. He's much better positioned than Felicia, but he's a much bigger target and more likely to go home. However, I feel like Jag just has more numbers rallying around him and protecting him as opposed to Felicia, which is overall better for his game, and that's why I have Jag here at number 8. At number 7, I have Blue. And Blue is in an interesting case where she's not necessarily a target like Felicia or Jag, but she's definitely not in a good position. I don't know why, but she keeps isolating herself from potential allies, and she keeps like making progress with these relationships and then just cutting them off entirely. I think her biggest issue is that she keeps testing people. She keeps testing people's alliances and testing people's allegiances to see if they're really trustworthy. I think there was a recent interaction between Blue and America where Blue told America, I'm going to target Corey. And then America expectedly went to Corey and said, hey, watch out, Blue is targeting you. And then Blue saw that and was like, yep, now I can't trust America. Where it's like, you were doing the exact same thing. America would tell you stuff that you weren't supposed to tell to Jared, and then you would go and tell it to Jared. So why are you faulting America for doing it when you were doing the exact same thing? It's hypocrisy at its finest, and I just don't understand it because now she's got vendettas against Corey. Like, if Blue wins HOH, Corey is probably going to be her target. And it's just bizarre because Corey, during the double eviction, if you saw before the ad break, I believe Corey told Blue, I'm going to put you and Jared up. If Jared wins at veto, Cirie goes up, Cirie goes home. And then Blue said, okay, but if you don't put me up and I win veto, I'm not going to use it on Jared. And then Corey's like, okay, don't believe you, but I'm going to say I trust you. And then Corey puts up Blue. Blue has expressed in the past that she is willing to take a shot at Jared and Cirie. However, she never expressed that sentiment to Corey. She showed it to Matt and Jag in America that she was willing to take that shot, but she was never very explicit about that to Corey, which gives Corey no reason for Blue to trust him. It gives Corey no reason for him to trust Blue, is what I should say. And then it was revealed later that if Blue won the veto, she would have used it on Jared. So in a sense, it was the right thing for Corey to put Blue on the block. But now Blue is getting mad, saying that Corey and America need to start playing the game, and they haven't done anything when they literally evicted her showmans. Like, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense, and I'm just baffled by her gameplay. Position-wise, it's decent. Target-wise, nobody's target, at least on nobody's radar. But her position isn't great, and I definitely don't see her getting too far. She might be able to make it another week or two, but in terms of longevity, I don't really see it, which is why I have her here at number 7. At number 6, I have Cirie. And it's interesting having Cirie in this spot because based on the previous events of last week, you would expect Cirie to be like house target number 2 behind Jared. Corey even expressed during the double eviction that if Jared won veto, Cirie would go up and Cirie would go home. But now that the whole chaos of the double eviction has settled, it's becoming more and more apparent that Cirie wasn't being targeted because they want her out, but rather she was being targeted because of her really strong allegiances to Izzy and Jared, 2 people that were controlling the game with Cirie, and they wanted to take that control away from her. But now that Cirie no longer has that control, she's no longer seen as a target. She's almost made it very apparent that she can't win a competition to save her life. If it's a mental comp, she can't do it, or she most likely can't do it. If it's a physical comp, she's more than likely not going to win it. And she's expressed that on multiple occasions. So as it stands, nobody really has any reason to target Cirie right now. I think Cirie's in a very middling position. Cirie definitely still has very strong social connections with people outside of like Blue and Jared. She definitely still has that connection with like Matt and Corey that could keep her safe for a little bit longer in the game, but she's definitely nowhere close to being in the best position in the house or even as good of a position she was in her previous weeks. I think the biggest issue with Cirie's game is that she's experiencing like gradual mental deterioration. In the sense that this game is so long. It's a marathon, and Cirie came out of this game sprinting. Like the first 2-3 weeks, she was like full steam ahead. Let's get Riley out, and then let's backdoor our closest ally, and then let's blindside Jag, but then bring him back into the game, and then put him on the block next week just to flip the vote and to keep him. Like, Cirie came into this game guns blazing. And I understand where she's coming from because she still has that survivor mentality of like, if you have the shot, you need to take it. Because in Survivor, you don't really need to think long term, because long term is like 5 days from now. But with Big Brother, long term is like 5 weeks from now instead of just 5 days, you know? So Cerise definitely needs to adapt to that mindset. The mental fatigue you experience in Big Brother is far greater than the physical pain you experience on Survivor. Or the mental fatigue you experience on Big Brother is far greater than the physical fatigue on Survivor. That's what I meant to say, if I didn't already say it. But I digress. As it stands right now, Cerise in a middling position. She has strong social connections. She's nobody's target, but she's definitely not in a safe position. I feel like if something went wrong with a veto or the wrong person winning HOH, Cerise could very likely go up on the block and Cerise could very likely go home. So as it stands, her position is decent but not great, and it's definitely worrying for her future in the game, which is why I have her here at number 6. At number 5, I have everybody's favorite not participating contestant. We have Bowie Jane. And Bowie Jane's in a really interesting position where she's very flexible within the game because nobody knows what to do with her. Like, literally nobody knows where she lies. Nobody knows what she's going to do if she won HOH. And that's probably best for Bowie Jane's game. Bowie Jane, I think as of right now, she doesn't need to win HOH for like the next 3 weeks because there are so many targets in front of her. She doesn't need to win an HOH to expose her cards or like tell people who she's working with, because everybody just thinks, oh, she's not playing the game as hard, she's a non-threat, we can worry about her later. And that's going to get her super far in the game. Realize that Bowie Jane hasn't been nominated yet. I know a lot of the people on this cast haven't been nominated, but it's impressive how big of a non-threat Bowie Jane is, and she still hasn't been on the block. Because people who are seen as expendable, somebody like a Blue, somebody like a Cameron, somebody like a Jag, people who are seen as expendable, they go on the block as they're like, oh, they're just an easy pawn. But with Bowie Jane, she still hasn't been pawned yet. Is she going to be a pawn in the near future? Probably. But is she going home anytime soon? I really don't think so. Bowie Jane has a lot of options open to her. And if she can just keep doing what she's doing and being Bowie Jane and just not gaming too hard and just solidifying her solid relationships with everybody, it's going to really build her repertoire. And I think she can go pretty deep into this game. Is she going to win against some of these endgame threats? I don't think so, but she's definitely in a very good position. As weird as it sounds, like, who would have thought that the person in the 5th best position in the house as of right now is Bowie Jane? Like, who would have thought? I certainly didn't think that, but it's really fun to see her like this high. Overall, Bowie Jane's position is pretty solid. She has a lot of options available, and she's a pretty under-the-radar threat, and nobody's going to target her soon, which is great for her endgame, and that's why I have her here at number 5. At number 4, I have America. And America has been doing a lot of good work recently. A lot of people were perceiving her as this big target, but with recent events, America has been able to kind of shed some light off of her back and allow bigger targets to emerge in front of her. People who are actual bigger threats than her. She's allowed Corey to win that, with Corey winning that double eviction HOH and Corey being the one to take the shot at Jared, people are now looking at Corey as the one who needs to be taken out over America. Mind you, if Corey wins veto and takes himself off, America's obviously going to go up in his place because they're a duo that needs to be separated, but America's no longer the primary target. For weeks, and I mean weeks, everyone was saying, America's a threat, we need to get America out, she could win comps, she's pretty smart, and she's being pretty active in the game, she's a big target we need to take out. But as it stands right now, nobody is actively targeting America necessarily. Sure, people are targeting Corey, the likes of Suri, Blue, Jared, and Suri, Blue, and Jared, as I remember it right now. Like, of course, they want to target Corey, and if Corey won veto, America would go up. But they're still not actively coming after America first. And that's great for her game. My only issue, and the only reason I don't have her higher, is because if she's on the block next to some of these people, I just don't know if she has the votes to stay. With Corey, he has much better social relationships or social bonds outside of his core alliance that America just doesn't have. She has bonds, but they're certainly not as strong as Corey's. And I think that's just the biggest issue with America, is that she has these bonds, she has these bridges, but they're not strengthened enough to give her the strength and the foundation she needs to solidly walk across these bridges. She doesn't have the foundation necessary to progress forward, and that's really scary for her game. And I'm honestly a little frightened for her. She's definitely in a better position as opposed to the past, right? She has her final two with Corey. She's gained a lot of good trust with Matt and Jag, and she tried opening up a relationship with Blue, but Blue obviously burnt that because Blue's Blue. But America's doing a much better job than she was in the past, and she's built a much better endgame for herself as it stands. Is she in the best position? No. Is she still a target? Probably. Is she going to get taken out soon? Possibly. But with all of those variables in mind, and it's a lot of question marks, with all of that in mind, I think America's pretty set to move forward a lot better in this game, which is why I have her here at number 4. At number 3, I have Corey. And Corey is definitely in a good spot, but it's definitely not the best spot. Corey is a target, like 100%. Like, there's a large constituent of people who would put Corey on the block and target Corey. As I've said, Blue, Suri, Jared, possibly even a Cameron would put Corey on the block and target Corey. However, with that being said, the people that Corey would sit next to in those circumstances, I think Corey could pull the votes to stay. With Suri, Blue, and Jared, they would want to put Corey on the block next to Jag. And I think against Jag, it's definitely going to be a tougher battle because there is going to be people fighting for Jag to stay, people like Matt and probably Suri or whatever. But I think Corey could flip the votes to keep himself to stay. With Corey sitting next to Felicia, it's even easier in that circumstance because all of the people that Corey's working with would be eligible to vote, and they don't have to pick between sides. So Corey has really strong bonds that are going to carry him and keep him safe through a lot of votes. My only issue is that because of this double eviction, Corey has now exposed how big of a threat he actually is. In the past, Corey was seen as like a middling threat, right? Somebody who, we need to take out later down the line, but definitely not an immediate threat. However, now that we're getting to the end of this game, people are starting to clock that Corey is a much bigger threat than they first imagined. And Corey has definitely risen up the ranks in terms of who's the biggest threat in the house. And that's really bad for his game. But I think the bonds that he's built thus far are going to carry him really far. He made a big move and got his biggest target out, and that's garnered a lot of good faith with at least with his allies, with people like Matt and Jag, and possibly a Bowie Jane, maybe not as much for a Nicole and a Felicia, but still though, Corey has garnered a lot of goodwill with his allies in that he's demonstrating that he's going to target people that are bad for his game and that he's going to protect the people that are keeping him safe. And that's going to be great for Corey's game moving forward in the future. If Corey can keep these solid bonds in lock, and if he can keep all of his allies in lockstep in keeping him safe, he's going to make it very far in the game. And I have a lot of confidence in Corey making it a deep run. And as long as no big blowups or no big flips happen, I think Corey is going to be set for the end game, which is why I have him here at number 3. At number 2, I have Nicole. And I initially had Nicole at number 1 when I first drafted this list. However, after recent conversations, I had to move Nicole down to number 2 because for some reason it seems like she's starting to cut off some of the strong ties she started building. I said in the past that Nicole has a low social battery and that's starting to impact her game, but I think it's coming into the biggest display as of right now. Nicole was obviously on board to get Jared out, but now it seems like Nicole is starting to distance herself from the bridges she was building. Obviously she has a really good repertoire with Felicia, and she's continuing to have a good one with Suri, but now she's starting to isolate herself from the other people, where she's so loyal to the brown sugar babes that she's almost unwilling to work with anybody else. When Corey revealed to Nicole that Corey knows about the brown sugar babes, Nicole interpreted that as, oh, now I need to distance myself from Corey. That's not good for her game. She started isolating other people in the house so much to the point where she's now a target. People like Matt and Jag are going to put Nicole up, and not only put her up, but target her and send her out of the house because they perceive her as she hasn't done anything and that she can't win comms, you know? So that's obviously horrible for Nicole's game, but I feel like she's in a really solid position. Even though she has a lot of people, or at least 2 people, targeting her, I still think she has solid bonds that are going to keep her for the long haul. She obviously has the brown sugar babes, and I think that alliance is going to take her very deep into the game. Even though she started distancing herself from Corey, she still has that really solid bond with Corey that she just needs to nurture a little more and re-strengthen to better for her future. And in terms of Matt and Jag, I don't really know what she can do with Matt and Jag. She kind of severed their ties, and now she's their number 1 target. So obviously that's not good for her there. But the reason I have Nicole above Corey is because Corey exposed himself as a bigger target. And Corey, I think, is a much bigger target in people's hit list as opposed to Nicole. With Nicole, she kind of emerged as a threat because of pure circumstance and people just analyzing the entire house and realizing, hey, Nicole's not close with me, and she's kind of getting close with the other side. It's maybe we should take Nicole out. And I think that Nicole not making herself a bigger target is putting her in a better position than Corey exposing himself as a bigger threat, which is why I have Nicole here at number 2. Now at number 1, the person in the best position in the house, I have Matt. And Matt's been doing a lot of good work lately. Like, he's not in the middle of the house, but he has ties with basically everybody in the house. He obviously has his final 2 with Jag. He has his final 4 lines with Jag, America, and Corey. He still has really solid ties with Blue and Bowie Jane. And even though Matt would be targeted by Nicole and Felicia, if Matt's on the block next to Jag, Matt stays handily. Matt would stay handily. And Matt's just in this great position. Matt is just a really good dude. Well, okay, Matt's a really nice guy in that his kindness has built and garnered a lot of good favor within the entire house. That's why everybody trusts him so much. That's why everybody wants to work with him, because Matt's just that much of a naturally trustworthy guy. And that's paying off dividends for him, where people are just willingly giving up information for him, where Matt is now actively in a position where he can lie to other people, lie to like basically everybody, and everybody's like, yeah, I still trust Matt. And that is amazing for Matt's game. I think Matt needs to just, if Matt were to take a shot at Felicia and Nicole like he wants to, I think he would need to let Jag be the one to take that shot. Because if he takes that shot at Nicole and Felicia, he's going to skyrocket his target just like Corey skyrocketed his target. And then people are going to start realizing that Matt needs to be taken out. Matt needs those shields in front of him. Matt needs Jag. Matt needs Corey. Matt needs America in front of him to keep himself from being targeted sooner rather than later. If Matt's put up on the block next to any of the 3 people I just named, Matt stays handily. And if Matt can just continue his low-key, not necessarily under the radar, but just low-key and subtle social game, if Matt can just keep that up, he's going to be in a great position for the future. And I can see him making a very, very deep run. And with that being said, he's probably got really good jury chances. I haven't been talking about jury chances a lot because these power rankings are more based on their position within the house rather than their position within the game as a whole, like considering like jury chances and physical comps and whatnot. I've been focusing a lot on the social game. But if we're looking at the jury aspect, Matt has a lot of respect, and Matt has a really good shot at winning this game if he's sitting next to the people he wants to. If Matt sits next to Jag, I think he wins. I think if Matt sits next to Blue, I think Matt wins. I think even if Matt sits next to somebody random like Bowie Jane, I think Matt could win. And that is great for him. And if he can continue this great position he's set up, he is in it for the long haul, which is why I have him here at number 1. Overall, while the house dynamics seem to be very interesting in that everybody's a target, the gameplay for this upcoming week is going to be so stagnant. It's going to be so boring. I mean, we have a week of no HOH, no noms, no POV, no eviction. Literally nothing happening. They're literally going to be living in that house and get their extra stipend for nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And I feel like this is going to kill the momentum of the season. Just like how the hacker twist absolutely killed the momentum of Big Brother 20, I think this is going to kill the momentum that Big Brother 25 has been building up. Big Brother 25 has had such good momentum and so many great moments up until this point with blindsides and alliances and dynamic gameplay. But now that we have a week of just nothing happening, that's all going to come to a screeching halt. And that's horrible. Like, I want these people to keep playing the game, and obviously they are, but they're just not going to be playing as hard because there's no stakes on the table. Like, Felicia even recommended that since nothing's happening, we might as well just not talk game. And for a whole week of Big Brother, not talking game is crazy. And I just hate that. I hate that. I hate what this twist brings. It's just, I hate the zombies twist. I hate the Big Brother zombies twist. It's horrible. And God, I just hate it so much. But that's my thoughts about the twist. In terms of the future of this game, I still have really high hopes for it. It seems to be on a great trajectory, even though there is going to be this bit of a speed bump with the whole BB Zombies twist. Even though this is going to hit a pretty slow point, I still think that there's going to be a lot of good gameplay for the future, and I have really high hopes for it, and I'm still super excited about it. But that's all I have to say. Do you agree with what I have to say? Be sure to leave your opinions in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you have any of those, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.